Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United transfer news as reports come in overnight that the Sesko deal could be off, that he's going to choose Newcastle. This is coming in from numerous reports. Primarily, it seems to be coming in from Slovenia. Well, we'll find out the truth about that in a moment. Also, very interesting interview that Beth did with Chris Wheeler. You can check that out. It's only been out a couple of hours out in the States. Check that out, but I'll be summarising some of the key bits from it, but there's a load more you can watch. And also, Fabrizio Romano has dropped a very big update overnight around a midfielder. I don't think we're going to get a midfielder. Fabrizio seems to think otherwise. So lots to get into this morning, as well as your opinion, but let's not delay. Let's get into it straight away. Let's talk about this news coming out. Now, I am actually, before we get into anything about any reports, and we've got a lot to get into, in summary, numerous journalists overnight have spoken about United drifting away from Sesko as Newcastle become firmer around Sesko. Now, some of this is mixed, but a lot of it seems to come from Slovenian reports. Now, I'm going to shout out, and I hopefully I can pronounce their name, Matija, who is a United Stand viewer from Slovenia, and said, I'm a regular viewer of the United Stand in Slovenia, and I'm a Slovenian national. I wanted to provide some context regarding the reliability of certain Slovenian news sources being referenced in the ongoing coverage of Sesko. Because Sesko is Slovenian, I think people are taking these reports as set in stone because it's a Slovenian outlet and he's Slovenian. However, like every other country, we have differing levels of reliability with our outlets. Specifically, the outlet Delo has been mentioned in relation to updates on Sesko's potential transfer. While Delo is a recognised Slovenian publication, it's important to clarify that it is not a sports-specific outlet, and much of its coverage, particularly around football, is engagement-driven rather than based on verified insider information. In recent years, Delo has published a number of articles related to transfers or football rumours that were not grounded in credible sources, and in many cases, the information was either speculative or recycled from other international reports. Unlike dedicated reports, sports outlets such as Equipo or Nogomania, Delo does not typically have access to insider contacts within football or player management. As a supporter of Man United and accurate journalism, I just wanted to highlight my information around this, that it is not the most reliable source. Now, look, I don't know that because I'm not Slovenian and I don't know I don't know how accurate that report is. I don't know how accurate that statement is. I've certainly done some background into it, and you know, all that is mentioned is appears to be true around those outlets. So, obviously, I think that there's a bit of scaremongering, of course there is. A few people have reported that maybe Newcastle are in the race. Maybe he can still go to them. But I don't feel like the deal's off. I really don't feel like the deal's off. I don't feel like he's choosing Newcastle, despite reports overnight. And obviously I saw Beth's video this morning as well. I think if it was off, David Ornstein or Fabrizio Romano or someone like that would report about it. I genuinely think that Rory C says, are we trusting a Slovenian viewer rather than a Slovenian journalist for a credible newspaper? But they're not a credible newspaper. That's the whole point. Make up your own mind, Rory. You know, we are a community. What I'm saying is, I don't know the credibility of this journalist. I don't know the credibility of that message. But what I do know in life is there are two sides to a story. And if you think I'm going to believe some Slovenian journalist I've never heard of, you're wrong. And if you think I'm going to believe some United Stand viewer from Slovenia, you're wrong. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the evidence, Rory, and I'm going to go, I don't think anything's changed. My personal feeling is we are trying to persuade Sesko to join Manchester United, who finished 15th, who are a former great club trying to sell a dream of being a great club again. And Newcastle are in the Champions League and are willing to offer him anything he wants, give Leipzig what they want, and blow us out of the water financially. That's not an easy task for Manchester United, but in my opinion, we are winning the race because he's even thinking about it. what's to think about? Man United, finished football club, finished 15th, not in Europe. Newcastle in the Champions League, loads of money. I mean, it's an easy choice if you're a mercenary. And he hasn't made it. So the way I look at it is, we're winning the race, but the race is not won yet. And I think we have to win the race by agreeing a deal with Leipzig, because Sesko has his fingers burnt already with Arsenal and is not in the mood to declare his love for Manchester United and then watch Man United do what they did with Brentford and Mbeumo and run out of time, because that took 7 weeks and we've only got 4.5 weeks. So I just think he's saying, look, I'm keeping my options open until you definitively agree a deal with Leipzig, because if you can't agree a deal with Leipzig, I don't get a move. And I think that's what it comes down to. Newcastle, I mean, look, last night there was talk of Newcastle being out the race. I just think, listen to what Fabrizio has said, what David Ornstein has said, what everybody has said. Like, there won't be a solution to this quickly. I think Fabrizio said himself, I think his latest update is this is not going to be a quick solution. So yeah, look, I'm not worried about this. I think that, you know, Newcastle, for some reason, I think the Newcastle story is interesting, but I don't see Newcastle as a rival to Manchester United, and Newcastle fans seem to want to be everybody's rival. Your rival's Sunderland, not Manchester United, not Arsenal, but they want that to be the case because they want to follow in the footsteps of Man City and become a big club. I get that. But I'm not getting involved in, is he going to Newcastle or is he going to Man United? Because I don't see Newcastle as a rival. I don't. If he goes to Newcastle, I would look at it and go, fair play. Well done, Newcastle. That's ambition. Look at Man United. We're 15th. We've missed out on plan D or E again. So that's what happens if we miss out on Sesko. It's not about, oh, we've lost to Newcastle. I'm very relaxed about it. I mean, look, Jan Arge Fjortoft has said that Newcastle have reportedly tabled a €90 million bid for Sesko. Could this give them the edge in the race for his signature? The player's preference is Manchester United, and to my knowledge, the player has not changed his mind. Leipzig are, of course, keen to secure the highest possible fee if they decide to sell. Speculation. And this comes in from Craig Hope, who is the Northeast correspondent for chief football writer for the Daily Mail. Nothing has been communicated from Sesko's side that he prefers a move to Newcastle. Despite Slovenian reports, he's yet to confirm his final decision. So, I mean, for me, no change, no change. Hypothetically, Newcastle could offer 90 million. Of course they could. I would question why when his release clause is less than that. So I think that, you know, a lot of people saying Newcastle bid. I don't know where this Newcastle bid is. Newcastle bid, Newcastle bid. Where is this Newcastle bid? I can't see anything about a Newcastle bid. I'm on social media. I follow all the big accounts. I can't see anything about a Newcastle bid. Is it Fabrizio Romano? Is it David Ornstein? Oh, it's Keith from Sky Sports. Oh, Keith. Keith from Sky Sports. Here we go. Good old Keith from Sky Sports. Never heard of him. Keith Downey, Northeast reporter for Sky Sports. Newcastle have made a formal bid to Leipzig for Benjamin Sesko. Their bid is €75 million plus 5, which matches Leipzig's valuation, 65.5 plus 4.3. Newcastle have presented their vision to the Slovenian striker and made it clear they want the deal to happen. Sesko is considering the situation, with Manchester United also at the table. He is open to both projects. And this is from Keith Downey and another journalist called Amar Mehta, who is also a news editor for Sky Sports. Wow. You know what? I'll sit back down then. If you'd told me it was Keith and Amar, I'd have been like, oh my God. I actually don't care. Like, I really don't care for Sky Sports and their up. Imagine believing Sky Sports, says Daniel. Exactly. It ain't 2017. So I really don't care. I've got no interest in that. A Keith Bomber, says Paulie. No, we need something better than that. Keith's Chaos Keith. I can't even think of something for Keith. No, I mean, look. If Newcastle have bid, so what? Does that really mean anything? I mean, Newcastle have been, you know, snubbed so many times this summer transfer window. Why not get it? Why not do it again? They've been rejected so many times. It's incredible. So I don't really. Look, everyone's going to make their own mind up, and in essence, the thumbnail says deal off, ? Sesko snubs United, ? Of course, you have to acknowledge when you're talking about those sort of statements that we're going to talk about it. So I can't sit here and go, I don't know why we're talking about it, because obviously we are talking about it because there's talks of Newcastle bids, there's talk of rejections. Personally, make your own mind up. Personally, I don't think anything's changed. I don't think we're in a different position from when David Ornstein said he's our priority. I don't think we're in a different position from Fabrizio Romano saying he's going to take his time. And I don't think we're in a different position from Manchester United being the favourites to get him. So that's where I'm at on it. I wouldn't say it's fake news. Newcastle don't seem to want to drop out of the race. Let's not forget that Newcastle, their odds have come in again. If you're interested in the bookies, they were 2-1 last night. They're now favourites again, but we're still even. So it's obviously very, very tight between these two clubs. Newcastle have also got to save face. Apparently, Ben Jacobs has confirmed the bid as well. So look, Newcastle have put a bid in by the sounds of it. But I don't think that necessarily changes anything. We spoke about this the other day, that Newcastle would either go away or stay in the race. And if they're going to stay in the race, then they obviously feel that they've got a chance. Newcastle make a £75 million plus £5 million bid for Sesko. Are you worried? Are you genuinely worried about that? I mean, I don't know. We seem to look. We've probably got new people here, but we have done this for a very long time. Just because somebody bids for a player that we want doesn't mean they're going to get them. I don't know. Look, one of two things are going to happen. He's going to sign for Man United, or he's going to sign for Newcastle. If he signs for Newcastle, Sir Jim Radcliffe and the Glazers better get prepared for a load of shit, because they're going to get a load of shit for dropping the ball on another transfer. They're going to get absolutely panned because we have only bought 2 players and we have sold nobody, and we still haven't got a goalkeeper and we still haven't got a striker, and you've publicly gone in on Sesko. And if you lose out to Newcastle, who are a direct rival for 5th place, you are going to get pelters. No one's going to be going, oh, we got owned by Newcastle. That's not how we work as a United fan base anymore. We've got our own problems. So it's either going to happen or it's not going to happen. Now, I agree with Cameron. This could just be a desperate throw of the dice from Newcastle to try and make something happen. Manchester United have publicly allowed this deal to be put out into the public domain through David Ornstein. If we pull out because we can't afford to pay what Leipzig want, and £65 million plus £5 million is not a shock. That's the price. So if we don't bid now, then Sesko was right all along not to commit to us publicly. If we actually haven't got the money to bid for £65 million, what the hell were we doing briefing David Ornstein in the first place? So I think that Man United have got to produce the goods now. We've publicly let it be known that Sesko is the striker that we want. Newcastle have apparently put a bid in, which, to be honest with you, I did expect. It's only £65 million. If we haven't got the money to put that bid in, what were we doing in the race in the first place? So I would be massively angry if we step away from this now because we can't afford 65 million. What were we doing? Are you telling me our only play was Sesko saying he wants Man United and we try and drive the price down? I mean, that would be incredible in my opinion. And look, maybe Newcastle have bid because they know United can't afford him. Maybe Newcastle have bid as a last throw of the dice because they're desperate. It's a development on the story. And I think that, as I said to you last night, the fact that Newcastle are in this race actually speeds it up. if it was just us, look at Mbeumo. This wouldn't happen till the end of August. With Newcastle in the race, it forces us to bid. There shouldn't be any, like if you think about Brentford, Mbeumo wants Man United want Mbeumo, 45 million bid rejected. 3 weeks later, 55 million bid rejected. 3 weeks later, 65 million bid accepted. That took 7 weeks. This is not going to take 7 days. Newcastle have bid, Leipzig are going to accept it, which means they can talk to Sesko. We need to bid very, very quickly, otherwise it won't happen. So, yeah, it's definite. Logan, you just got yourself blocked, mate. Apologies, but we're not having spam like that, thank you. But yeah, it's sorry for interrupting that, but I just can't. I can't. You know, we've been doing this for a long time now, and I'm not having the live chat descend into that sort of shit that used to happen in the first few weeks of opening up the channel. But as I was saying there, seriously, this should move really quickly. So I don't really care about Newcastle being involved. I think it's just inexperienced people panicking. I haven't changed my stance this morning during this show up to now. I don't actually feel panicked. I think I detect in the chat that some people do feel panicked and some people are getting stressed. I don't feel panicked. I'll tell you why I don't feel panicked. Because if he goes to Newcastle, what do you want me to do? Oh, I can't believe it. Well, I can believe it. Plan A, Delap, Chelsea. Plan B, Gyökeres, Arsenal. Plan C, Ekitike, Liverpool. Plan D, we walk away. Plan E, Sesko, Newcastle. I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if this falls apart. But if it does fall apart, there will be a video from me and there will be a live chat from you, I'm sure, where we absolutely rinse United for their shit ability in transfers yet again. It'd be embarrassing. But I still think we're going to sign him. I really do. So, interesting. Stupid going to Newcastle, stupid going to Man United. I have a feeling those involved know far better as to the right choices, says Thunderbolt. Barada and Sir Jim will look like fools if they fail, says Bounty Hunter. Look, if Man United know what they're doing, the Newcastle bid means nothing because you just match it. And I've got a feeling the Newcastle bid of 65 million has been taken completely out of context, because people were talking about 90 million euros. Well, 90 million euros is not 65 million pounds. So why have Newcastle not offered 90 million euros? Because the release clause is 65 million. Newcastle could say to Leipzig, we'll give you 90 million euros, but Man United can go, we'll give you 65. The release clause is 65. The problem we've got here is if Newcastle are paying 65 million pounds up front, we won't be able to do that. That might be a problem. We might have to pay a little bit more. But 65 million pounds is the price. So Newcastle bidding the price. Oh, I'm so scared. You're odd. Like, Newcastle bidding the price is fine. We just better have the bloody money. Otherwise, I would query why we got involved in the first place. It's like queuing up for an Oasis concert and then getting to the front and saying, I haven't got a ticket, can I buy one? No, they're all sold out. Oh, you know, we've got in the queue for nothing and everyone is going to laugh at us. So we better have the readies. That's all I'm going to say. And if we don't, we look like absolute amateurs. I don't, but look, as much as I have been critical of United over the years, even I don't believe that Man United have publicly got in a race for a player against a club that's got the money and then we don't have the money. That would be shameful. On the other hand, we did pick up the phone to Villa and asked to take Emi Martinez on loan. I feel the player has said yes to both teams. We're going to get caught cold here trying to push Rasmus to Leipzig, who don't want to go, says Sean. We only tend to win one-horse races for transfers. That's what concerns me, says McAlvis. I mean, I must admit that is in the back of my head. I also think Sean Turner is correct as well, because I don't want to see Rasmus going as part of this deal. Could this accelerate United's approach? Exactly. One way or another, we will find out very quickly what's happening. Would Newcastle bid unless they knew it was concrete, says DLE. Look, I agree. Again, I don't know Newcastle's transfer policy. Their transfer policy this summer seems to be that they do bid even though when they don't necessarily have a player. James Trafford was meant to be going to them. He's wearing a Man City shirt. João Pedro could have been going to them. He's wearing a Chelsea shirt. So I don't necessarily agree that Newcastle operate in a way where they only bid when they know they're going to get a player. Some clubs do. Some clubs won't bother bidding unless they know the player wants to come to them, which is a bit of a pride thing. I don't think Newcastle necessarily have bid for Sesko because they know they've got him. I don't necessarily get that feeling. I might be wrong, but this is fully up to the player. Remember, Barcelona accepted our bid for Frenkie de Jong. Newcastle can bid all they want if he wants us over them, says Vlada. The only worry is United. Look, when we bought Wayne Rooney, Newcastle bid for Rooney. Newcastle went for Rooney aggressively all those years ago. Some of you won't be old enough to remember, but Newcastle went for Rooney big time because we were sort of negotiating with Everton. Newcastle came in hard and said, we want him. Rooney never wanted to go there, but it prompted Man United to go and get the deal done. The only worry is United being United won't be working on another option at the same time, one deal at a time, averaging 6 weeks, says Aidan. Well, look, maybe we will get... maybe we will end up with Watkins after all. I have a feeling... I feel better. Good old Keith from Sky, says Ray. Keith Curl, says Lee Berman. I may have missed this in the past, but did United consider Darwin Nunez? Well, how can we do that, Rob? He's a Liverpool player. It's politics for a better deal. He wants Man United to Ghost 92. I keep telling you, Marky, Nico Jackson is the one, says Ryan. Good morning, Mark. How did you sleep? Did you sleep on the sofa after last night's comments? No, absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. If you watched last night's show, could have been that way, but was okay. Leipzig's release clauses expired last week, says Jake. I don't know. I don't know now. I've not heard that from anybody. I would have expected we would have heard that from somebody else other than Jake, but maybe he's right. Didn't Madrid bid for Yoro? Chooses in the end, says Tom. You get a young striker who could be good in a few years. Look, if you're panicking about bids, what was the story a week or two ago about Man United and Gyökeres? All right, it didn't end up being true. But the story from all the Portuguese outlets was that Man United had bid what Arsenal had bid in an attempt to do the deal. But as came out, all right, United denied the bid, but even if they had bid, the player wanted Arsenal. So it really comes down to what the player wants. So get a young striker who could be good in a few years versus experienced Premier League track record and fight for top 4 next season. Glazer's got on strings. We're not fighting for top 4 next season, PK. In my strong opinion, we're not fighting for top 4, regardless of who we get. Just to clarify, the release clause is actually 80 million, which is 69 to 70 million, not 65, hence the 65 plus 4 offer, says Nick Collins. There we go. Thank you very much, Nick. Why is our head of recruitment sat on his arse in America when there's deals to be done? Season starts 2 weeks tomorrow for us, says Methane Man. 2 weeks last night for Liverpool. Good point. If Newcastle had bidded, how quick can Man United put together a bid which is along the same terms as Newcastle's? Would it be hours or days, says Ewan? It needs to be quick, mate, because if that bid is official, and obviously we're getting reports this morning that it is, if that bid is official and Leipzig accept that bid, then they, it doesn't matter whether Man United or King Charles want to sign Sesko. I don't know why he'd want to sign Sesko. He's probably got the money though. If Newcastle's bid gets accepted, then contractually, they can talk to Leipzig. They can talk to Sesko. They can get him in a room and offer him whatever he wants. Get him, in a one-on-one situation officially, and if he signs, it's done. So a bid, I think it's a good thing. But if that bid gets accepted, it's not paper talk anymore. It's not Fabrizio going, I've heard this, I've heard that. It's officially Sesko in a room with Newcastle. And if he walks out that room and he signed the deal, we're done. So the bid, if it gets accepted, United need to act quick. We can't trust the whole Benjamin Sesko goes into a room, don't worry lads, I'm not going to sign anything. And also he's got to make his mind up there. So it moves things. Man United have to move quickly. And as I said, I still think he's going to come to Manchester United. I think it's very rare that you get a David Ornstein saying United want Sesko and then United don't get that player. Like, that's a big update. He did say at the start of February that we were going in for Kenda, and Kenda went to Chelsea though, so it can happen. And David Ornstein didn't say that the player was coming to Man United. He said that United had locked in on Sesko. So it can go wrong, but I'm still living off that what we can take from that is that Manchester United, from the best transfer expert in the UK, want Sesko and are going in for Sesko. Now, if we don't get him, that is a huge L, and they can't hide it. They can't cover it up. You know, it's a cat burying a shit on a marble floor. You're not going to bury that turd. So if Newcastle get Sesko, I'm not going to try and bury that. You shouldn't try and bury that. We have been embarrassed publicly again. So that's what United are facing. I don't think United have gone into this publicly on a prayer. We've got to have a plan. What's interesting is that Ornstein and Romano have said nothing about a Newcastle bid. No way they both get missed on that, says Swaney. Yeah, well, look, I don't look. Who knows what magic is at play here, but I'm sure it will come out very, very soon. My blood pressure can't take this anymore, Mark, says Damien. 65 million, something isn't right, says Connor. Am I the only one that wants to give Erasmus one more year? If he doesn't produce this year, he has to go, but give him a settled team with good attackers, says Goat Smoker. No, I want to give Rasmus another year. I think a lot of people want to give Rasmus another year. I don't want to give Rasmus another year and not buy a striker. That would be ridiculous. We need 2 strikers. I would bring Sesko in and keep Rasmus. I think we need options. Sesko can reject talks even if the bid is accepted, says Bees. Would this be on Favel if we miss out, says Jacob? No. I think it's on Favel that we've got this far. He will have opened the door at RB. He will have, got the Sesko interested. What this will come down to now is money. Favel's not the money guy. This will be, are we going to match Newcastle's bid? In which case, I think we'll get him. Or are we going to go, we can't pay that much, in which case we might be in trouble. So this will come down to money. Rasmus going there is our only hope, says... I don't know who that was. Oh, that was from Bees. I'm sure I saw someone say that. I might find that again in a minute. Right, let's... anyway, I'm going to move on because we're going to be all day talking about that, and that's more of an opinion piece. I want to actually get into some of the stuff that was discussed. I don't know who Maran Zor is, but he's a chief football writer for Nogomania, who we were talking about before in Slovenia. More reliable than the original one. He says Benjamin Sesko has not yet chosen any club. Today's reports in some media are not accurate. He has 3 options, Leipzig, Man United and Newcastle, but no decision has been made yet. In relation to the goalkeeper, Chris Wheeler has said on the United stand, you can check out the full interview on the homepage, the feeling at the club is that Onana starts the season. When Monaco were interested in Onana, Man United did mention 30 million, which does show an openness in terms of letting him go. Man United are looking at goalkeepers, but it's similar to Rasmus in that there hasn't been any communication about him leaving at this stage. I mean, we want to get rid of Onana, but we can't get rid of Onana. That story verifies it. Monaco inquired, we put a price. So he is for sale. We can't get rid of him. That's the problem. Laurie Whitwell says on Sesko, it's progress since Wednesday. United are aware of Leipzig are aware of United's intentions to bid. A lot of these things go through intermediaries. That's how the starting point goes on. It's going to take time. It's not a quick thing. You're looking towards even deadline day maybe, but you've got weeks before that. You've got so many moving parts, not least because of Rasmus in all this and funds for all this. It's certainly something Red Bull are aware of, and United know which way they're going to progress it with it, but club-to-club talks have been tentative so far. Well, I tell you what, that's out of date. That is out of date, isn't it? So Laurie Whitwell, obviously, this is before what's happened overnight, to be fair, but saying that it's going to take time. It could be like deadline day before anything happens. Not a chance that's going to happen now. I mean, Newcastle actively bidding. We ain't going to do slow-mo negotiations. We're going to have to move quickly or not at all. We've spoken about Ben Jacobs and the Sky bid, by the way, everybody. If you turn in on time at 10 o'clock, although I didn't start till 10 past, then you would know all that and stop trying to take us back to stuff we've already discussed. I can confirm that Benjamin Sesko still has not decided. It won't be tonight either, says Fabrizio Romano. He's taken his time with his family, people close to him and his agent to decide what to do. That was from Fabrizio on that. Also, Manchester United are seriously considering to add one more midfielder to the squad in case of good opportunity. Understood internal talks. This was the one I wanted to talk about. See if I can find some information. So, Manchester United, from Fabrizio Romano, Manchester United are seriously considering to add one more midfielder to the squad in case of a good opportunity. Understand internal talks also focused on new signing in the midfield, not only a striker and a goalkeeper. So that might be of some interest to some of you, that there is still talk of United looking at a midfielder. I honestly would love to get proven wrong on this, but I think there's just way too many moving parts, and it's almost it almost gives you a headache, actually. Like, there's logic and reason, and then there's speculation and fantasy. I mean, already there's people in the chat talking about Belieber, and you're talking about Belieber because Rio Ferdinand says we should buy Belieber. And Rio Ferdinand says we should sign Belieber, having read all you lot saying we should sign Belieber for the last 8 months. So it's incredible that people do videos and make comments about Belieber based on an ex-player who's got no information talking about Belieber because he's read your tweets and knows it's a hip thing to say. 90 million quid. Not happening. So who the midfielder is going to be ain't going to be someone like that, is it? So the reality is, I would like Belieber. I've been talking about Belieber since last autumn. I think he's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant player. I watched the game Brighton played last year. I think it was Man City. He wasn't on in the first half. He came on in the second half and changed the game. Brilliant, brilliant player. But not a player that United are looking at or can afford. I look at this midfielder update from Fabrizio, and I sometimes wonder, where is he getting this information from? Because he's got really good contacts, but like, who at United is putting that out and why? I don't question Fabrizio. He's not making it up. But who at United is giving Fabrizio information that we're looking at a midfielder? Because this is where journalism comes into it. And I wouldn't expect journalism from Fabrizio Romano, but I would be saying, you're telling me that you're looking at a midfielder, a goalkeeper and a striker. You've done 2 bits of business in 3 months. You've sold nobody. But you're still putting it out there that you want a striker, a goalkeeper and a midfielder. It is August the 2nd. The window closes in 4 weeks. So you're going to buy a goalkeeper, a striker and a midfielder in the next 4 weeks. And you're going to sell Garnacho, Anthony and Sancho. You're not. That's my stance. You're not. Logically, you're not going to do all that because you haven't got the time to do that. You've proven that over this summer that you can't operate at that speed. And who are these players going to be? And where's the money going to come from? I look at United's transfer window. I see Anthony, Sancho and Garnacho all waiting till the final day, happily, so they can get the move they want at the price they want. They're twisting our balls. And then I look at goalkeeper, striker and midfielder and go, well, who are we going for apart from Sesko, who Newcastle have just bid for? So I don't see us getting a goalkeeper, a striker and a midfielder. Many of you might believe it. Many of you might hope it's going to happen. I certainly hope it's going to happen. But I don't see us doing that. I don't see the time for Manchester United to do all of that. And also, how are we going to bring a midfielder in when we've not sold a midfielder? Like, the story in May was Casemiro or Manu have got to go for a midfielder to come in. Well, Manu's not going to go, and I don't think Sesko's going to go. Mojo says, in terms of signings, we will sign a striker, while I believe we will get a midfielder on loan. Goalkeeper seems unlikely. As for Sesko, we need to get on our bike, or we are very close to losing out on Sesko, says Mojo. Thank you very much, Mojo. Hope you're doing very well. Legend of the chat. What's this nonsense about Jurgen Klopp advising Sesko not to join us? If he did that, he's an actual twat, says Nikhil. Well, look, Jurgen Klopp works for the RB group. Jurgen Klopp is a Liverpool legend. Jurgen Klopp understands that Man United are a big rival of Liverpool. If Jurgen Klopp can tell Sesko to go anywhere, he's going to tell him to go to Newcastle, because if he goes to Newcastle, then Isak will come to Liverpool. So I've got no issue with Jurgen Klopp telling Sesko to go to Newcastle. I mean, the dynamic there helps Liverpool out. Of course it does. I would have expected Manchester United to have had meetings with Sesko and tell him Jurgen Klopp's going to tell you to go to Newcastle because it benefits Liverpool. You're a pawn in a game of chess. If I was Sesko, I would be intelligent enough to realise that I'm being used for the benefit of Liverpool if Klopp said that to me. Because actually, I don't think for his career, Newcastle is better than Man United. Maybe I'm a bit biased there, but I don't. Are we waiting for Manchanes to serve his ban? This is corrosive. In terms of signings, we will sign a striker, while I believe we'll get him done that from Mojo. I mean, that's quite an interesting point. Do you think we might be waiting for Emi Martinez to have served his ban? I mean, I don't necessarily think that, but you never know. United Star says, buy Sesko and loan Obi to Leipzig for development. Christian Reed says, I thought I saw this morning from Ornstein's Facebook that Sesko had agreed personal terms with Sesko. Sesko can, it's from Christian, Sesko can reject talks even if bid is accepted, says Bees. Thank you very much for that. Okay, I'm just going to have a quick roundup check here because a lot of people are throwing in a lot of stuff in and a lot of it's just repetition because they didn't turn up on time. But there might be one or two little bits of updates I can bring in. I mean, look, Amramira says, only way we get Sesko now is if he does it in Burma and says he only wants United. Doubt we'll match that bid. We have to match the bid. We have to match the bid. If we don't match that bid, we never should have been in the race in the first place. You know, we're not going to grind Leipzig down. They're not going to... I mean, we're not going to get Benjamin Sesko saying, I only want Man United and you need to lower the price, because his agent has already said we're not going to do that to Leipzig. He literally did an interview a month ago saying, we're not that. We're not going to demand a move, not train and run, you know, try and drive the price down. If an offer comes in that Leipzig are happy with, then we'll consider a move. But he's not Gyökeres. He's not got Gyökeres' agent. So we have to match the bid for Newcastle, and obviously the player has to want to come to us. We're not going to be able to do. And look, we didn't even drive the price down with Mbeumo, did we? So we're going to have to pay the price if we're interested. Yeah, look, Ben Jacobs saying that Newcastle's tactic, and this is what I suspected, and, you know, fair play. Newcastle's tactic has always been to get a quick agreement with Leipzig in the hope Man United can't or won't match it. So, yeah, I mean, look, that's my theory. Ben Jacobs is saying that. More and more, I think this is a Newcastle tactic to say we've got the money and we're ready to go. Try and get it done quickly and sort of hijack the deal. This did happen with Wayne Rooney and Newcastle and Man United about 20 years ago. Just over 20 years ago. Oh, was it 20 years ago? Was it 04 or 05 that we got Rooney? I think it was 05. It's 20 years ago. Yeah, Newcastle have done this before. You have a go. You can't, you know, I applaud the balls to do it, but I don't think Sesko's chosen them. I just think they're trying to force the move. And it might work. It might work. You know, Sesko might be like, they really want me. Look at this. They're showing they really, really want me. But Orny has tweeted. Okay, let's have a look what Orny's had to say. Ornstein Bomber. Newcastle submit offer to Leipzig for Sesko. Bid made in the last 24 hours. Around the asking price. Man United pursuit ongoing. No decision yet from 22-year-old Slovenia international striker. Well, there you go. I think we can end the show there, can't we? I mean, that's where we are. Until we have another update, that's where we are. Newcastle have made the play we predicted 3 days ago. Ben Jacobs has confirmed what that play is all about. It's not because Sesko's made his mind up. As per David Ornstein, last 30 seconds, no decision from Sesko. So we know the situation. And as I said, I'm not panicking. I don't think anything's actually changed. Some people are panicking. Some people think a bid means, I mean, look, I can't help people who operate at a low IQ level on transfers. I would imagine most of you don't. But some people out there will think when a bid goes in, you've lost. I've seen them on social media. Like, some people will think because Newcastle have put a bid in, we've lost. They won't realise that I could put a bid in for Sesko. Actually, legally, I don't know whether I can. But Wrexham could bid for Sesko. Wrexham could say, we've put an official bid in for Sesko with £5 million. I mean, it'll get rejected before it goes in, but any football club can bid for any player. Obviously, most clubs don't bid unless they think there's a chance, but you can bid speculatively in the hope that, you know, you're throwing a Hail Mary, which is, you know, not much chance. Can they pull off a worldie? That's what Newcastle are trying to do. But there's the definitive. Forget Keith. Forget Ben. Forget Nogomania from Slovenia. This is David Ornstein, numero 1 when it comes to UK transfer updates. Newcastle have put a bid in, but Sesko hasn't changed his mind. Or he hasn't made his mind up. So Newcastle's bid has gone in, but not because Sesko's chosen them. Newcastle are just having a go in the hope that Man United can't match it. And we're going to find out probably in the next couple of hours, certainly in the next couple of days, whether Man United are going to match that bid, because the minute that gets accepted, the minute that becomes a problem. So that is where we are now. Newcastle have bid. It's what you would call a... Newcastle, as an analogy, because I know sometimes people like an analogy. You're in a bar. Man United are sat at one table. Newcastle are sat at another table. And at the bar, there's a very attractive person stood waiting to get a drink. Man United have said to their mates, I'm going to go and buy her a drink. No one else in this room. It's her or nobody. Or him. Newcastle have done the same. All that's happened is Newcastle have got up and they have gone and asked her if she wants, or him, a drink. Now, Man United can't sit there and go, she might say no, or he might say no. Man United have got to get up and go, can we buy you a drink? I think when we do that, they'll choose Man United. But if we don't do anything, then Newcastle may well be buying a drink and a bit more. Not that she's up for sale or he's up for sale in that way. I'm not saying they're a prostitute. Yeah. That's what's basically happened. Yeah. Right. I don't know how far behind people are this morning, and I don't know whether it's rage bait, and I'm sure our moderators will deal with it. But across the course of the show, we've spoken about absolutely everything, and we've certainly spoken about David Ornstein's tweet in the last 3 minutes. So people saying Ornstein update, in the future, you're going to get blocked. It's as simple as that, because I like to interact with the live chat, and I'm sure everybody else does. And telling us about an Ornstein tweet that we spoke about 5 minutes ago really doesn't move the conversation forward. And if you're watching 5 minutes behind, which could be an excuse, maybe don't put anything in the chat because we're 5 minutes ahead of you. What if we match the bid and then Newcastle increase their bid, says Infinite? Okay, well, I'm not going to spend the next hour talking about the ramifications and different outcomes of what might happen next. You know, what if Man United don't put a bid in? It goes to Newcastle. What if we both put the same bid in? Probably comes to Man United. What if Newcastle then increase their bid? Why would they increase their bid when the release clause is 69? What if Leipzig reject Newcastle's bid? If I was Man United, who clearly want to take their time on this deal, if I was Man United, I would wait to see if Leipzig accept that bid. If it gets rejected, I'm not doing anything. If it gets accepted, I've got to make a decision. But as Jude said, the biggest update from David Ornstein in the last couple of minutes is that he has not made his mind up. Sesko has not made his mind up. So Newcastle can bid all they like, but they haven't been given an indication that he has chosen Newcastle. So Newcastle have not bid because Sesko has told them he wants to go there. Newcastle have bid to try and force the deal. So that's where we are with that. And look, we're going to be live again today. I guarantee. Well, we're live at 8 o'clock anyway, but there'll be another update. I'm surprised Fabrizio hasn't put anything out yet. He will definitely be tweeting something. But look, as Ben Jacobs said, as reported yesterday, Newcastle's plan has always been to bid to Leipzig first without a Sesko agreement to join. Man United are working on the player buy-in and both clubs are active. And then he's put a popcorn thing there. So I don't sit here and say I told you so. I don't sit in here and tell you I'm right. I just give you my opinion and you have yours and you're free to do that. But I'm calm. I'm not panicking. Some of you are calm, some of you are panicking. I'm not. This Sesko SNUBS United or deal off, nothing has changed. All that's happened, I actually am quite excited by this. I'm definitely going to get clipped for this, but I'm actually excited about what this is doing. This is football. I love this. This is great. You know, a player that could change both club seasons for the next 10 years. Is up for grabs for £65 million. Newcastle are in the Champions League and they're ambitious. Man United aren't in the Champions League, but they're a huge club trying to wake up again. We're both publicly going for the same player. The player apparently hasn't made his mind up. Newcastle have put a bid in. Man United surely have got to do that as well, or they're a coward. If Man United don't put a bid in, you know what Man United are? Two people in the street having an argument. Right, let's get in a boxing ring. All right, I will. Let's do it. Newcastle turn up. They're in the ring. They've got the gum shield in. They're ready to go. Man United don't turn up. That's what we are if we don't get in the ring for this bid. I'd rather we get in the bid and we see what happens. Because otherwise we're all talk and no action. We've allowed David Ornstein to say we're in the fight. And then we're not in the fight. I find this exciting. I think we're going to win. I'm Man United. I back United. I think we're going to win. If we lose, there'll be a lot to say. It'll be a meltdown. But we're in this fight. It's exciting. Bring it on. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I know that Terry is live on his channel. So, look, still loads of people are talking. We've spoken about Sesko. Terry will be talking about Sesko. Let's go. Look, Terry's a positive person. I'd be very interested to see what he's got to say about it. Newcastle are desperate and just need to know they have no time to waste. Look, I respect Newcastle. Have a go, Rob. Look, think about that analogy again. If it was Man United and the girl was looking at Man United, smiling, and I'm looking at her and going, you know, and I'm Newcastle, and she's not smiling at me, but I can afford a drink, I'm still going to go up and say, do you want a drink? I'd say, look, I know you're looking over there and maybe that's what you want to do, but have they asked you for a drink? I'm asking you for a drink. I think you're amazing. They might go, you know what? They're sat there smiling at me, but they haven't asked for me a drink. I'll have a go. She'd probably say, piss off, I'm waiting for them. But you know what? At least I had a go. So I respect Newcastle. I ain't got a problem with Newcastle doing what they're doing. But let's see how United react. Bottom line, don't get angry at Newcastle. Don't get angry at Leipzig. Don't get angry at Sesko. It's United. United, I trust United on this. Don't break the trust. But it's on us now. It really is on us. We've publicly said we're in. Are we in? Let's see what happens. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Great show this morning. Please do subscribe to the channel. We're very close to 131,000. Really appreciate that. We're probably going to be back before 8 o'clock. Probably be at 2 o'clock. I'm hoping if the weather's good, I'm going down the slide this afternoon at 2. So get ready for that. I'll speak to you all in a bit. Take care and pop over to Terry's channel if you want to. He's going to be going live very, very soon. Speak to you in a bit. Oh, I won't end the stream. I'm sure I'd put a... Wait. Somebody just said something there. Let me... Football Terrace is Terry's channel. Sorry, somebody just sent me something there and... Okay. No, I'd already read that. What if we match the bid and then Newcastle increase the bid? It's false alarm. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you in a bit.